A lot of people are trying to figure out what to do. After the non-indictment of former officer Darren Wilson in regards to the shooting of Michael Brown, people are trying to figure out what to do. We've seen a lot of demonstrations. We've seen 37 states get set on fire in regards to what some people would call rioting, which I would call a rebellion. In the same way that when New Orleans, when all of that stuff happened with Hurricane Katrina, and how when black folks was finding food, that they called that looting, while when white folks found food, they called that finding, and so right, they call that surviving and things like that. And so be really careful about how you see wordplay in the media and things like that. But anyway, but in talking about what we need to do, the demonstrations and things like that, people want to try to do something constructive and whatnot. I know my alma mater, UCSD, those students, they actually went in and blocked the I-5. The I-5 that was, I'm sorry, that was big. That was a huge. I know that some of y'all don't realize how big that deal is. But that was like rush hour traffic. They didn't even go during one of the wee hours. Like, for real, they went out and they blocked that bad boy. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a big deal for us to get attention to this particular issue. And so then, and so with Ant, what are you thinking? What's going on in regards to demonstrations? Where are we going from here?
This is the culmination of a lot that's been going on. Yeah. This is very much the closest thing that we've seen to the civil rights movement since the civil rights movement, not the post-civil rights. We're talking like the late 50s through the early 60s civil rights movement. In terms of the fuel and passion to be visible on the streets, marching, using voice. But we're also seeing a lot of some of the failures of the civil rights and some of the critiques. We're also seeing that being enacted too, in terms of trying to have more horizontal structure, right? The use of social networks rather than this is the leader. No, these are all leaders and everyone here matters and is important. I will say that one of the most interesting things is to see it sweep nationwide when New York, Los Angeles, Ferguson, they have very different racial issues. You start throwing in places like Seattle, you start throwing in places like San Diego, right? The relationship is so different just from police, from communities, but to see it all being organized around these very familiar themes, including the hashtag Black Lives Matters, is crazy important. We haven't seen this type of solidarity without the divisive politics that get played out. And I'm not saying identity politics, but that get played out over the disagreements. This is one of the large scale unifying movements. And if you're watching CNN, you think that this is over. It's not over. Folks are still going to be out there. Folks are getting more and more organized. There will be bigger marches that happen simultaneously across the country. And what we are going to find is you are either going to be plugged in and a part of it, or you are going to be out of it. And you will have to make a conscious choice over whether or not saying to march or not to march, to be visible or not be visible, but you're going to have to make a conscious choice over, are you on the side of folks who are demonstrating, folks who are saying Black Lives Matter, or folks who are saying, no, we disagree, you shouldn't be out there. It's going to sort of be in that space. This is going to be a huge thing. Let me phrase that. It is and will continue to be a huge thing. While we're talking about that Black Lives Matter, just because you brought up UCSD, one of the things I've been following a colleague of mine who's at UCSD, they placed a board with the hashtag Black Lives Matter. And at first it was graffitied over to say all lives matter. And then it's been graffitied over just to say lives matter. And then it's sort of become this sort of artistic vandalism conversation that's going on the board. I don't even want your opinion. I'm going to say straight up. When we say Black Lives Matter, we are aware that all lives matter.
Duh.
You don't have to erase black to put all, because then you are erasing black, which is to say black does not matter. It gets buried with all. There are unique circumstances. There are unique illustrations. There are unique perspectives. And so for this to be Black Lives Matter, if you have a problem with that, you are declaring which side of this demonstration you are on.
Absolutely.
And which side you are not. And if you need to be educated, go see the professor. Find your allies who will explain the difference. But to erase black with all, to bury black with all, is to continue the systematic racism, to continue the systematic discrimination that allows black bodies to be hypervisible and invisible simultaneously, which comes back to the original point of how black people are being violent, their bodies are being violently acted upon, right?
Absolutely. And so, to wrap this is to say, when you're talking about the idea of trying to eliminate black bodies, well, guess what? We actually have research and have polls taken and whatnot where if you just poll the United States, over 90% of folks, regardless of what their race is, would say, hey, lives do matter. We are equal. Yes, I would have, yes, anyone can move into my neighborhood. Yes, I would let my son or daughter marry anyone or whatever. It's like over 90% of people are saying yes to all of this stuff. They're saying everything is cool. However, guess what? Less than 10% of all marriages are interracial. So we are more segregated now than we were back in the 1920s. We have more black bodies in prison than there were slaves back in like 1850 or something like that. So I get what people are saying in regards to trying to construct this colorblind, I don't care who you are, I only see the content of your character. That is a bunch of bull. That's just dumb. And what this has gotten us is exactly the space that we are in right now. All this colorblind stuff that people continue to say and that all people matter, all of that has gotten us to this exact moment that we're in right now, which is black bodies are violently acted upon and white people still do not see our humanity in all of this. That's why #Black Lives Matter.